Merlin.
あれは本当にメリオダスとなのか。
Good.
So episode 23 of Nanatsu no Taizai. Yo, the ending of this episode, let me just jump right into the ending of this episode, bro. Oh, look at this, man, right here. Therefore, Captain's current combat class is 60,000. 60,000. What's wrong? Say something, Fraudrin. The expression on your face when you were knocked down from hope to despair makes me feel on top of the world. Look at that, yeah! Listen, when the MC is showing those strong sides of of the darkness, like let the hate flow through you, Senator Palpatine? Oh my god! And by the way, I appreciate the shot of Merlin. I really, really do. Thank you, A1 Studios. Thank you for that, at least. Is that really Sir Meliodas? Like that face right there? Good. That is... Yeah, buddy. Look at the face, the mark on his forehead going over his right eye, how pitch black the eyes are, like the way his head is tilted, and then like the smug look. Oh my god, like, bro! Like, welcome to the darkness. Welcome to the dark side, man. Yo, the dark side's where it's at. That's where all the cool stuff goes down. The light side is boring. Dark side, yeah. We all about the good times here. This was good. Unfortunately, as a whole, the episode has like pacing issues because A1 Studios has some type of deadline in mind for episode, I think 24 or 25, whenever it's going to end. They have some type of deadline in mind, and as a result, a lot of the stuff after Meliodas passes away is rushed from a pacing standpoint, like really, really rushed, and that sucks, honestly, because this episode has about, I would say, 3 major parts to it, when in honesty it should have 2. Like, the episode ends off on this particular moment, but the episode should end off when Zaratras, he assists Hendrickson, and then we have those two scrub against Dreyfus. That's where the episode should have ended off. Let's go back all the way through this, step by step. So, this is when he's back in action, and by the way, clearly it's very strange that the main character, he was dead. We saw him in Purgatory. We had hints of the Demon King in Purgatory, and now he's back. So from that standpoint, it looks like he kind of won. But at the end of the episode, it's kind of like, actually, there's something off. So the main character, the MC, does come back. And hard-pressed to find an anime series where the main character dies, or they change main characters. That's a very, very rare series. Whatever happened with him, the Demon King, of course, is going to be fleshed out at some point later on. But it looks like at first it looks like he's kind of victorious, but again, later on, just kind of like shows, maybe not so much. Is that really Meliodas, says Dreyfus. But that being said, the animation, the pacing is where this episode falls flat on its face in many regards. In fact, many moments in this episode, the animation was C-Team. C-Team. Not the D-Team, because the D-Team's like beginning of Dragon Ball Super. Like, oof. Ooh, that's a wow. This interns that just have no idea what they're doing. They're just there for like 1 or 2 hours and that's it. But when it comes to this episode, there are some moments where it's like, the Dead Yeti and Meliodas fight in this episode. Yeah, it's not cutting. It's not good at all. I digress. Let's dive into this. So he's back in action. Elizabeth is happy. They even changed the opening too, where at the end of the opening, he kind of wakes up and then she's crying and they're all happy, that kind of stuff. They hold hands, that kind of stuff. So all of his hearts are in good shape. And then, and by the way, in the manga, he was shirtless in this whole thing, whereas I don't know if I can show this on YouTube. I mean, I don't know. But, it should be fine. Whatever. You know, just in case. Just in case. You never know. So the thing here is this. Even though I'm going to show Daddy Eddie, so it's kind of whatever. It's too late now. So the whole thing here is this. I want to start off with Daddy Eddie because in the manga they do it a lot more justice, and in the anime not so much. And actually in the anime you kind of say that something doesn't really make sense here, and that's the power that she's wielding. So let me get to the scene here. So Hawk touches down with the sword, and then they sense something. In comes Daddy Eddie, clocks Mama Hawk, Mother Pig, whatever you want to call her, right? Hawk Mama. This right here, from an anime viewer standpoint, you may think is a bit weird, for a very good reason. Because Hawk Mama is powerful. Hawk Mama was able to consume the purgatory bird that Mospet fired at them, like at the beginning of the season. Like it traveled like across the country, and she ate it. That's number one. And number two, in the last episode, we saw Hawk Mama with like one snout attack just bust through like a whole horde of demons. Like red and gray demons alike. Just it didn't matter. Just boom, Hawk Mama. Like, whoa. Hawk Mama has skill. Alright, Hawk Mama's fierce. But here comes Daddy Eddie with a single punch, and she obliterates Hawk Mama. Now granted, it's not like a pure obliteration, but like that's a big cave-in. That's big impact. You would think granted she's 10 commandments. That's true. But Hawk Mama isn't weak, number one. And then number two, she has an ability when it comes to upping her strength. And if you forget, that's her combo star. In the manga, after episode 22, it appears that Daddy Eddie and Mospet were in the forest and they were talking to each other. So this is all done off episode. And I'm assuming that's the case, because you don't see in this episode or in the previous episode. But she actually builds up her combo to like 50 plus before she gets to this point of hitting Hawk Mama. They don't show this in the anime. They show you in the manga. And it makes a lot more sense in the manga. Because again, Hawk Mama is powerful. So that's really unfortunate because this, I think, definitely could have been fleshed out a lot more. And well animated too. And also showing you the bond and trust that Mospet and Daddy have for each other. It's done also in the sense of the Ashen Dragon, where he fires the attack at both Daddy and Meliodas. And that was her plan. That was Daddy's plan. But at the same token, it would have been really nice to see him. He summons the gray and the red demons toward his location. And then as she is reaching this location right here, she continues the combo star. She goes from 1 to like 50 and then slams Hawk Mama. So from that standpoint of power, it makes a lot more sense in the manga where you see her built up to that rather than in the anime where we just see her just come out of nowhere and just hit Hawk Mama and that's it. Let me get to the moment. Okay, so here we have Hawk Mama. She's down. And the combo continues. And every time Daddy Eddie is attacking, she's indicating that the combo is continuing. Low 50 something when she actually kicks Hawk. So the combo continues. Hawk is sent flying to the distance. And later on, we see where he lands up. But right there is a combo reset. And Meliodas, he notes to this that the combo is now reset. What you're going to do. But that's her power. And they should note this. So here she continues the combo. And by the way, the animation, this is C-Team. This is without a doubt C-Team. It's fairly plain. Like, look at Mel's sword. Like, right here, look at his sword. It's just so... Nah. It's not appealing in the slightest. It's very stiff. It's very low budget. And, again, A1 Studios, they do this frequently at the end of seasons, and it's very unfortunate. I would rather 7 seasons be, like, half the episode length for a season, but them have the proper budget for 12 episodes, rather, through and through, rather than have this at 24 episodes, 20 episodes, where the animation and pacing are just rushed and the animation looks so lackluster, it's very unappealing. In some moments, not all, but in some moments it's like, mainly fighting. The fighting stuff just kind of gets the low budget stuff, unless it's like a really, really, really important scene. Like, I would say the Meliodas stuff, when he passes away, is actually fairly good. And then afterwards, that's when things take a dive in pacing and animation. Not necessarily a huge dive, but still a dive, nonetheless. A very noticeable dive. So the combo continues here, and then the combos reset once he does this. So combo reset, and by the way, it's just great shot of Daddy, of course, you respect that. But again, the combo resets, and then she has to continue again. Her powers were being used throughout the entirety of this fight, so you may be wondering, as an anime viewer, wait a second, does she have a power where she has a combo-based ability? Why would she use that against Meliodas? Well, she did. She did use it against Meliodas in the manga. And it's the same scenes, but in the anime, they just don't note that she's using her ability. Which, again, if you're an anime-only viewer, you may find that very strange. But, alas, here we are. The combo continues, and he says, if I can help it, I'd rather not kill you guys. But that changes. Now, this is the Ashen Dragon, and we can see here that she does have a trust for Mospet to do this on her behalf. And then this is the scene that took place clearly in between episode 23 and 22. Because in 22, all we see is Daddy be knocked into the forest by Meliodas. And while she's recovering, he's summoning demons to their side while she comes up with this plan of action to use all of his magical power against Meliodas while she's fighting him. So this whole thing takes place off episode. And then that's how we build up to the moment of the Ashen Dragon. But I also want to point out is that from the manga, after the Ashen Dragon's near, we have this. That's what the Omi would have said. And then Elizabeth, she kind of notices something's been off. And then the full counter. The full counter, okay, here's the thing. In the manga, the face that we see in the episode, at the end of the episode, we see in the manga at this point. Where it's Meliodas just looking sinister, evil, like, yo, I don't give a damn. Just get out of my way. Full counter. The Omi would have said, nah, I'm not gonna try to kill you guys. But right now, I don't give a damn. So he's died, but the old him has also kind of stayed dead in a sense, where this is a different Meliodas to some degree. So then full counter, and then it looks like he absolutely disintegrates Mospet and Daddy. Boom. And you would think that they're pretty much dead. And also some dialogue that is, I think, very important to note too, is that in this case, it's missed. But Dreyfus in the manga notes that the magical power of Mospet and Dede just vanished. What's going on here? And then he also, Fraudrin also notes that the way he sensed how the powers disappeared, it was almost as if like their attack was rebounded on them. And the only person that can do it is Meliodas. But he says that there's no way that could be the case. Because as far as he knows, he's dead. He's seen him die. So, once again, you have dialogue that would have been really, I think, nice and actually meaningful to have when it came to Dreyfus, when it came to Daddy, when it came to Mospet. But again, that's all skipped. And then he just kind of talks to them without noticing that Mospet and Daddy's magical power have vanished. So from then, we have Gustav doing his best to try and keep Jericho and Zeke from transforming, and in the process, Gustav he dies. Fraudrin notes this too, where that's all he could do. Gustav, again, he's probably dead, at the bare minimum passed out, and what that means for Jericho's character, you're gonna see later on in the series. But I will say, honestly, I think Jericho's actually a really cool character, and she does deserve a lot more focus as a whole, but at the same time, she's Bond's, like, I can't say side chick, just like Bond's friend, or some of the sort, all right? Because again, Bond is more into, unfortunately, all right, he has more of a lowly, yikes right there. But hey, you know, listen, moving on, moving on, and now we get on to Merlin. Now, Merlin is back. Merlin is in full effect right now. However, remember that last time we saw her, she was under the power and the influence of Galen's commandment. So Merlin is, again, orb at hand. So that's her original body. That's her body. It's back in full capacity as far as you can tell. Which in the manga was also fairly shocking as to how she came back. But in the manga, they highlight it more. And she goes into detail a lot more as to why she's back. Whereas in the anime, again, they just gloss it over. Easy peasy. So she was able to negate an ability from a Ten Commandment, flat out, which is an ability from the Demon King himself that was granted to these demons. Exterminate Ray, you can't murder in front of Grey Road because that's his commandment of pacifism, and then the result is that all of the time that you have remaining is sucked out. But she's clean. She's clean. Shocked. Can't believe it. No way. But unfortunately, that won't work on me. And then we proceed to find out about her powers. And she is high broken. A lot of folks would say that Merlin's actually the strongest of 10 commandments, of the 7 deadly sins. And for a very good reason, because her powers are high broken. So essentially, what she did was that because human life is limited in time, she stopped her own time. That requires a lot of magic power. But we find out that she has this very unique ability, like every other person does. But her unique ability is high broken. Like stupidly broken. A lot of power to twist the laws of magic, the laws of the world with your magic. You need a lot of magic for that. How do you do that? Infinity. This is the power I have. No matter how taxing, sustaining a magic can be, all I need is to invoke it once. So as long as I don't cancel it again, it keep it going. As long as she doesn't cancel it again herself, the power keeps on going. No matter how taxing or sustaining it is.
What?
Yeah, that's broken. That's broken. And here we go. But still does explain how you're able to cancel Galen's petrification, as well as Grey Road's time commandment. And then Grey Road goes to the discussion about the commandments, about how they're not ordinary, because they're given by the Demon King himself. So how are you able to break them? And then she goes right into her backstory. In the manga, she explains what exactly happened and how it actually took her a while to get out of Galen's commandment. And then she also explains she was actually very fearful for her life for like a few seconds when she was petrified by Galen, but then realized that according, again, this is all in the manga, but this is what they should have said in the anime. Apparently, she had forgotten that she had actually had a resistance to a degree when it came to certain commandments. The manga points that out, the anime does not. It's the same block, it's the same dialogue, but again, they gloss over very key details. In the manga, she clearly notes that she had actually forgotten that she had somewhat of a resistance to the commandments of the 10 commandments. And then from there, she goes into this backstory of, I've forgotten who I was. It's been so long. The daughter of Belialuin. Is that how you say actually? Belialuin? Belly? Belialuin? Okay. We fine. So she is the daughter of Belialuin. And that has massive weight. And then she continues, if you're at 10 Commandments, I'm sure you're familiar with the name. So, and they clearly are, because when she says that, they freak out. Like, whoa, what? Wait a minute. Time out now. And mind you, these guys were imprisoned via the goddess seal for 3,000 years. But despite that, even being imprisoned for 3,000 years, they should be aware, fully aware, of what it means to be the daughter of Belialuin, which means that Merlin's history is at minimum 3,000 years old. Very similar to Meliodas. Hello? That is deep when it comes to Merlin's character, and pretty big for her character as well as the overall story there. So again, finding out a lot of stuff when it comes to Merlin, about her abilities, about her past, about her way in the story, how that's now magnified, like, by several orders of magnitude. Clearly. And the fact that she's even back. She's back now in the story. She's gone out of the Galen petrification. And in the manga, even though she appeared in the same fashion where it was like, I'm back, hey, it's like, huh? She's back. They have dialogue there to kind of explain it in much greater detail, where in the anime, she's just back. Again, ever since, the pacing of the anime has, in general, from season 1 till now, has been, I would say, fairly fast in comparison to the manga, which is fine. Like, that's not new. But episode 22 and episode 23 of season 2 of the Seven Deadly Sins have very fast pacing compared to the rest of the anime. So compared to the manga, they're going through like chunks fairly quickly. Like this episode, I would say, has like 3 major chunks in one episode. It has the stuff we see with Meliodas, with Mospet, and with Daddy Eddie. It has the Merlin stuff and Fraudrin and Grey Road, and we continue on with Grey Road pretty much being subdued by Merlin, because Merlin, again, high broken. So once you cast the spell, Grey Road's done. Grey Road's is absolutely done. And then, finally, the last part would be the Fraudrin versus Hendrickson and Zaratras, where that's its own chunk as well. So you have 3 chunks in one episode, where in honesty, the way I see is that, and by the way, endless world. So endless, probably literally, because again, as long as sheer self doesn't cancel the magic, then the magic continues. And Grey Road, one of the 10 commandments of the Demon King, is subdued, put into a test tube in a whirlwind that she shrunk, and the castle is now gone. So that's Merlin. Again, a lot of folks say she's actually the strongest of these sins. It's not without reason. But, again, where the episode, I think, should end it off with, I think, the beginning of this fight, where Zaratras comes in there to assist Hendrickson. And then I think that's where the episode should end off. The episode should end it off 14 minutes deep in this case. And it should have been 10 more minutes of extra dialogue and extra fleshing out, and maybe more added scenes when it came to Dead Eddie, Mospet, Meliodas, and Merlin. Definitely. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is where the episode should end it off, with Zaratras looking like a beast, lighting up, I'm here to assist you, Hendrickson. Hendrickson just can't believe it's done. He's back. Honestly, honest to God, like, keep it real here. The episode should end off where the halfway mark of this episode is. Straight up. Straight up. That's what I think. And again, that is indicative of the pacing issues of this whole... Oh my God. The animation, bro! Yo! What is that? The animation of the C-Team is real. Like, I can't even say it's that dynamic, because it's so... Again, a lot of these fights have C-Team animation. This is another one of these moments. Though what I will say, let me jump to it real quick. Dreyfus is now finally free from Fraudrin, but Griamore is there to kind of give Dreyfus the pick-me-up he needs. And Dreyfus is back in action. Griamore. Fraudrin says that, and he says that not with any malice. He says it as if he's... You can tell that there's no malice in his voice when he says Griamore, and he's staring at him. It's actually very surprised to see Griamore there. He really is. The Zaratras stuff. From a pacing standpoint, from an amateur standpoint, I think this was like the best part of the episode, I would say. Mainly from a pacing standpoint. Now, granted, his character introduction as a whole in both anime and manga is really, really strange and abrupt. Yes, he was hinted at during the previous arc with Dolor and Galaxia, whatever his name is, Galaxia. I can't say his name. The first Fairy King. But at the same token, he was in full armor, never saw his face. I think in the manga, he actually does make some type of motion towards Elizabeth, but I'm not too sure. Either way, it's fairly abrupt. And at the end of it, he comes in there, he assists Elizabeth in some way when it comes to finding out more about her past and her ties to Meliodas. But then on top of that, when it comes to this one, clearly his main goal, Hendrickson, Dreyfus, and the Fraudrin situation, and the main reason why his character exists. And to me, I felt like it would have been better, a lot better, if Zaratras actually had animosity, a grudge against Hendrickson and Dreyfus. But the fact that he had against himself, I mean, it was already convenient that he came back in the first place. But high convenient, like super high convenient, that he has no grudges against these two, but it's for himself. Like that was, to me, yeah. But this part is actually fairly well done. And the fact that even at the end, he had to be the friend, the brother that they need. He had to be the pillar that these two needed to make sure that they weren't going to completely live their lives in lament and regret. Like, no, like, move on. It is what it is. That's what it means to take responsibility as an adult, right? So even still, has to come back and teach them what it means to be an adult, what it means to move on and so forth. Again, like, this is good. This is good stuff. Like the death of Zaratras. And then following that would be, oh, I'm Fraudrin. Here, look at me. I'm full size. And here comes Meliodas. Like, nah, dog. I mean, I'm here to demolish you. Okay, like, you're doing not bad. But actually, that was my clone. Not bad. And then, hey, real combat class. 60,000. Hello. So this part, I think, was second only to the Zaratras stuff. Because, again, the Zaratras stuff is, I think, very good emotionally. And animation-wise, I think the best so far. Though, again, his character existence as a whole is wonky. And by the way, I gotta say that when it came to the mock battle between, and I call it a mock battle because it really is a mock battle, the clone versus Fraudrin, animation was, you know, like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, this is fine. Like, not a big deal. Not a big deal. But again, the main point here is that, you know, Meliodas, the happy-go-lucky guy that we've always known, sate. Nah. From hope to despair, makes me feel on top of the world right now. Evil grin, forehead right there over the right eye, eyes pitch black, smug face. Yeah, what up? Welcome to the dark side.
Let the hate flow through you.
Good. All right, so as a whole episode, I think it was okay. Which, again, to me, it was like the previous episode, where it's like there are certain segments that should be just more than okay. They should be like great at a bare minimum. At a bare minimum, because of the impact that they have for the overall story. And when you look at how they're executed in the manga, they should be great moments. But A1 Studios, I'll say it one last time for the events. A1 Studios have an ending in mind. And they have a budget in mind. And instead of focusing on making quality, they'd rather rush everything. And here we have episode 22 and 23. They're okay when they should be a lot better. Even though the story stuff is really good, everything else needs a lot of work. Character-wise for Merlin, though, this episode was fire. But pacing, issues. Massive issues. Animation, when you have C-team stuff in an episode, automatically, from that standpoint of animation, you're going to be lower than 8 out of 10. Automatically. And in this case, I would say it's more like a 6 or a 5. A 5. What am I talking about? A 5 out of 10 for animation. It's not like horrible, but subpar. Subpar. So I'm going to see you guys later. Because again, the fight stuff, I mean, Dreyfus, Hendrickson, Daddy Eddie, Meliodas, and Fraudrin, 5. 5. That's it, I'm done. So, I'm going to see you guys later. Be sure to rate the video. It is not that hard to do. I guarantee you that, because I know that you all have a device called Zmausu. You use Zmausu to click, rate the video, to click, subscribe, to click on that bell to join the squad, and of course, comment in the comment section down below. Peace, and have a nice goddamn day.